Greg, well done. You won on BP Blondie earlier in the 130.
Yeah, he jumped really well. He's been a really consistent horse all year in some of the Irish horse sport classes, and the final is next week in Tattersall, so I brought him here for school today and he jumped really good, so I have high hopes for next week as well, so hopefully he keeps up his good form.
Okay, you have 3 mounts in the Grand Prix now later on, Greg. You must be confident.
Yeah, the first one is a 7-year-old. She's quite green. It's her first time at this level, obviously only being a 7-year-old, and it's a tricky enough course for first 140. Obviously, anytime Alan Wade builds, it's always challenging, so we'll see how she goes. And the other two have been very consistent for me. Rincarina and Mrs. Quinn have been very consistent all year in the Grand Prix, so let's hope they keep it up today again.
You're leading the leaderboard at the moment, Greg. I'm sure you'd love a win here today just to go that little bit further ahead.
It's always nice to win, and the horses have been going very well. Eddie Maloney he had a very good win in Oma, so he's starting to eat into the lead I have. So, like I said, my horses are in good form, so I'll just concentrate on my own performance, and it'd be great if I could win today. Yeah.
Alan has built a nice track. It's fair but challenging for horses and riders today.
Like I say, anytime Alan Wade builds, it's always very challenging, so I can't see there being too many clears. There never is anytime Alan builds.
We go with our next competitor, Greg Broderick, back to us again. Greg, our Kildare National Grand Prix League leader on 64 points. He goes now with Noel Cawley's Rincarina. Rincarina has been placed in a couple of National Grand Prix Leagues already this season and has added towards Greg's 64 points. Owned by Noel Cawley, by the Stallion Cruising, out of a mare by Diamond Lad. She was also a winner of the 6-year-old championships in the RDS and was a 5-year-old national champion. Number 20, Rincarina and Greg Broderick. Three clear rounds now. Greg Broderick is our third clear round with Rincarina. So the league leader is in. Greg Broderick, he sits in front on 64 points. He goes now with Noel Cawley's cruising mare Rincarina. Number 20, Greg Broderick, Rincarina. 42.60 the time to beat. Eddie Maloney out there in front. Our first combination to go. there we go. That's our leader. 42.40 for Greg Broderick and Rincarina. They go into the lead, clear all the way. Our congratulations to Greg and the Cawley family. This one bred, of course, by Noel himself, by cruising, out of a mare by Diamond Lad. Has been a great servant to all the connections, was a national champion. Cawley's, Rincarina, if Greg wants to lead us off on a lap of honour. Well done to Greg, congratulations to Greg and to the Cawley family. It's a great result for all involved. Eddie Maloney, he set the standard in the jump off, he was first to go.
I'm now joined by Noel and Lisa Cawley, the winning owner of Rincarina, who just won the National Grand Prix here today. Very well done.
Thank you very much. Delighted with her, yeah. She jumped really well.
She did, didn't she? She's a really consistent mare. She stepped up to Grand Prix this year and has taken it in her stride.
Yeah, she seems to be very comfortable at it. She's jumped in about 6 or 7 Grand Prix and has had 4 or 5 double clears, and she's been 3rd or 4th in most of the classes she's jumped in. So we're very happy with her. She seems very comfortable at it, and she's been very consistent so far.
No, Lisa talks about her consistency. She's been consistent right from a 4-year-old all the way up.
She has, in fairness, as you know, she won a couple of the horse sport classes. She won the 6-year-old championship in Dublin, and after 2 days in Lanniken, she's been in Lanniken twice. She was 3rd overall, and there was 200 horses in that class. So she's very clean. She likes to jump fences, and she has a good attitude, and she's fast, as we saw today. And of course, her rider gave her a fantastic ride today. I think, to be fair, even if she didn't win, the smoothness of the whole thing was something that you'd enjoy watching.
She's by cruising. She has all the signs of being a cruising, from the technique to the scope and to her personality.
Oh, she's somewhat kinky, there's no doubt about it. It's interesting, her mother was a Diamond Lad mare that Edward Doyle rode for quite a while. Lovely technique, but a bit tricky as well. And her older sister, Solarina, has won a couple of Grand Prix. In fact, she competed in the World Cup in Canada. She was in Lanniken as well, Solarina. So she was a good mare and very similar in character to her. And there's another brother, Cruising Lad, that won in Switzerland for some friends of ours. So it's quite a good family, in fairness.
And Lisa, you have the mother of Holly breeding at home.
We have, yeah. She's 18 or 19 now. We have a full sister to Holly at home. She's 6, and we've just put her in foal. Then we've got a flexible yearling, a yearling colt by Flexible out of her, and she's back in foal to Flexible. Just scanned in foal the other day, so she's producing good horses.
Very good. And I suppose we should say that Holly is what we call Rincarina at home, for those who don't know.
Yes, sorry, yes. And we've a half-sister, Marina. She's by Ramiro. She won her 4-year-old qualifier for the RDS in Barnadown there a couple of weeks ago. So she's another, Edward Doyle rides her, so she's going to the RDS as well. So we'll have 2 half-sisters in the RDS competing in the 4-year-olds and the 8-year-olds.
And both homebred?
And both homebred, yes.
No, it's a great achievement to have 2 homebred horses like this. And of course you have Golden Exchange and Jackie O from Jack of Diamonds filly in the 4-year-olds with Greg also. Yeah,
we've been pretty lucky this year. Greg has done a mighty job on the Jack of Diamonds filly. In fact, we'll have bred, I think, 6 of the horses that have qualified for the jumping in Dublin. There's the 2 4-year-olds. In fact, there's 3 4-year-olds. Vicky Foster is another one. He'd be a half-brother to Golden Exchange. And we think that Cruise on Clover is coming with Thomas Doyle. That's a full brother to Golden Exchange. And as you know, he was on the Irish team in Drammen there a couple of weeks ago. No, we've been lucky. We've bred a lot of them over the years, but I've generally sold them when I was working full-time, and they won a lot of Grand Prix. But today is the very first day in our lives that we actually owned a horse ourselves that won a Grand Prix, and we're delighted with that. And the style in which Greg did it, I think, was something I find attractive anyway. I like horses that jump nicely and that are ridden nicely, and there's a certain smoothness about the style he has and she has, which is quite attractive, and we got a bit of a kick out of that, or I did anyway.
And what are your plans for her for the year ahead? I'm sure Dublin and Tattersalls are the nearest competitions, but further on from that, what do you plan to do with her?
I'm not sure. I think she's jumped a fair bit this year, and she'd want a rest, I suppose, later in the year, and we might think about taking an embryo from her, although we have to handle that carefully before we decide how we're going to do it and when we're going to do it. But look, she's done well today. We're happy with that, and it might only happen once in your life, but to win a Grand Prix is fairly special in Ireland.
Really well done. Well, thanks Lisa and Noel for joining us today, and best of luck in Dublin and Tattersalls. I'm now joined by Greg Broderick, who's just won the Grand Prix on Rincarina. Greg, really well done.
Thanks very much. I'm delighted, and the mare was super today, and she's really come into a good vein of form. She's I think that's definitely her third double clear in a row in the Grand Prix. So she's only an 8-year-old, and today was the first day I really put the gun to her head. Like in Balmoral, I just had a nice round. She was fourth there, and I didn't press too many buttons against the clock. And likewise in Boswell, I the same thing. I just had a nice round against the clock, and she was fourth. But today I really put the gun to her head, and she answered every question. So I'm thrilled with her.
She definitely doesn't mind going against the clock, and she turns extremely well.
Yeah, she's so careful, and she actually does. She thrives on going against the clock and a more forward rhythm. But like you say, she's only 8 and new to Grand Prix, so I mean you have to tread carefully. She's very careful, and like I say, there's always a chance of giving him a fright when you're going that fast. But like I say, she was very professional about it today, and I'm extremely happy with her.
Only 4 clear and into the jump off, Greg. I suppose it's a sign that maybe it was a challenging track for horses and riders built by Alan Wade.
Yeah, like I said, at the course walk, anytime Alan Wade builds a course, you're never going to see too many clears. And he's top class course builder, and he's a great field for his job. And like I say, it's always challenging for any course you jump from Alan Wade. It does the horses, and you're riding very well.
Another 10 points gained today, Greg, so you're well ahead of the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's the horses are in good form. Mrs. Quinn has been great all season. She had some very good wins. She was very unlucky to have a fence down today, but I mean, in the end of the day, they're only horses, and it's so easy to touch a pole off. But thankfully, Rincarina's stepped up to the mark, and like I say, she's as competitive as any horse in that division now, so I'm really happy.
So what are your plans now for the season ahead? You're going to stay concentrating on the National Grand Prix League, I suppose.
Yeah, it was the plan from the outset to try and win the National League, so thankfully it's going according to the plan so far. There's 3 Grand Prix left in the National League. I think I have about a 20-point lead. So if I can just keep consistent for the next 3, hopefully we can get there. I'll head to Tattersalls next week for the Irish Horse Board Finals. I ride BP Blondie and Golden Exchange and Captain Elite Cruise in the 7-year-old finals there. And they've all been very consistent. And BP Blondie had a very good win here today. So he has a chance of being the leading 7-year-old in the Irish Horse Board League. If with a good performance next week, I think there's maybe a point or 2 between himself and Harry Marshall's horse, Derry Inver Luxury Cruise. So it should be exciting next week. And then we head to Dublin. We have a total of 12 horses from the yard heading with. I have 8 horses. My cousin Dara, who rides with me, has a lovely 4-year-old going, and Ethan Ahern, that rides with me, has a nice 5-year-old, and my other cousin Oliver has a horse and young riders. So we'll be very, very busy there. So we have a busy time coming up.
Well, best of luck, Greg, up there, and thanks for coming to join us today.
Thank you very much.